Sweet. So I'm excited to see these projects. I think the phase two projects are some of the best ones just because they can kind of concentrate on the React fun. So without further ado, let's take a look at our first one. Let's look at Anthony Juan and Maddox's recipe book project. Make sure you can share.
All right.
There you go. Okay. Share away. Let's see what you got.
Cool. So this was originally on the first project me and John thought about doing this, but we couldn't quite figure out how to make it all work. So I brought it up to this group and they were cool with it. So just a simple recipe book. Each of these opens up to a full recipe. It's an embedded link from another website and it has all the information. And then you can like and dislike all of them. And then you can add a new one, just whatever. And it'll get added at the bottom here and pull up the link. And yeah, that's about it.
So do the likes persist there when you hit them?
Yeah, they do.
Nice. Cool. The other two want to say anything about what you got here? Styling or anything on the back end? Or on not back end, the internals there.
No, not really. I think Maddox pretty much covered all the features.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool working with Material UI and seeing like all this stuff you could do.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty cool.
I was gonna ask about the styling stuff. Yeah, I guess if you let's do the if you had another week, what would you add onto this?
I'm realizing now that we didn't add a search bar, which we probably should have.
Mm.
And then also probably a delete, something like that, a filter, more things like that.
Cool. Cool. Anything give you a hard time on this one?
I couldn't get this rating because it was originally like right here next to the heart, and I wanted it to be on the right here, and I could not get it to move over for about like an hour and a half. I was working on it.
Nice. What about the other two?
Just working with the MUI in general was kind of a hassle. It's kind of like learning a whole new language. That's the only part I struggled with. But yeah.
The part that gave me the most guff, I guess, was on the new recipe. When you submit it, trying to get that little alert to come up there to tell you to go back.
Oh yeah.
Because originally it wanted to like go over the submit button, and then so I had to like tweak it and like mess with it. And then I made it so that like it disappears after a couple seconds. But if I would add anything, I feel like we need some more like pizzazz in our webpage.
And maybe some checking to make sure like things aren't empty there and whatnot. Cool. Awesome. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Pretty tight. Looks really nice. The Material UI like snaps up. Look good.
Yeah, I like the look and feel of that homepage there is really nice.
Yeah, it's nice and clean.
Yeah, nice
Um,
work.
cool. Good stuff, y'all. Um, so if there's nothing else, let's move on along to John and Wes. Um, uh, the repo is not named after the project. The movie scope.
Movie scope. That's right. So let me bring it up for you guys. Just throw it into full screen for you. So yeah, movie scope. It's just like a pretty basic movie database where you can go in and see a list of movies that are in the database. And without logging in or having any credentials, you could edit movies, add movies, delete them. So maybe that's certain functionality that we would add to it if it were a quote unquote real website. But we just picked kind of 10 random movies, assigned them random ratings. And so if you look at the homepage, you see the main list of movies with all the cards. You click on one card, you go to that movie's detail, and you can from there edit those movies' details, change John's, to the website creator's last name. There we go. And that persists. You can also search for movies by title. So anything with a J in it, anything with an F in it. And then could also add movies. So I want to add Guardians. All those fields work. Add our description, assign it a rating. Yeah, I guess, and if we did have more time or requirements, to add like buttons, maybe comment field, but there it is. You got Guardians there. And if you decide you want to edit or delete it, you can delete it there. Yeah, and that was kind of one fun thing with the CSS, was just styling these buttons. So if you hover over edit, yeah, changes color to blue, delete changes to red. But yeah, that's about it. I think that covers the functionality. Add movie, edit movie, delete movie, and search for movies. So that is Movie Scope.
Nice. What were the hardest parts for you?
For me personally, probably the CSS, just getting things to look a certain way, and getting it to behave, the way I hope, with like the Venetian blind analogy is pretty good. Like you pull on one side and that side goes up and the other side goes down. So just getting things so it is really cool how much flexibility there is. Yeah, and when we first started it, I ended up starting a new repo because we had imported Material UI and we're thinking about incorporating some of that library into it, but it was giving me just all kinds of errors in my local environment. I don't know what the cause of that was. It was probably a not too difficult of a troubleshooting exercise, but it was so early on. It was just easy to restart the repo and kind of build it again from scratch. But yeah, and for me, it's always that attention to detail, just functionality. Like I had, if you look at the path names, I guess if I take it out of full screen, you can see like the path names. So like if you're click on one movie, then it's localhost, movies/1. I had singular movie and plural movies in different places. So there's just like a lot of kind of going through the weeds and getting everything consistent. But other than that, didn't get hung up on too many things on this project.
Cool. Again, it's like, that's good. Anyone else have any comments or questions? All right. Love it. And let's do our last one, Ryan and Travis, with the music discovery engine.
I'm just getting it started up. Computer is a little slower with Zoom and server and video all going. Okay, here we go. All right. This is our music discovery engine. You start out just on a homepage, which is a homepage. It's just, hey, here's a sentence about what it is. I linked Ryan and I's LinkedIn's here. And then we each put kind of a couple sentences about ourselves and kind of, music and arts and how, basically why, was a music app something that that we were interested in. And then yeah, we've got our nav bar up here. So we've got a couple different search varieties. We've got an area where you can view things that have been saved and what we call the random generator. I'll talk about some of that stuff in a minute, but I'll kick it over to Ryan to walk us through the search stuff and talk about some of the back end stuff he did, because we ended up, we hooked into the open Spotify API, which he got figured out pretty quick.
Yeah, so since we're using the the whole of the Spotify API, we could actually do some pretty cool things. So if we go into the search artists, you can type in like a bit of an artist, like a kind of like a snippet of an artist, and it'll load in like the 20 closest things to that. And you can just put in like a random string and it'll usually work. If it's too random, then it will be like, I don't know what's happening here, and it won't show you anything. But apart from that, it'll try and guess, which is some pretty cool functionality. Yeah, and actually getting the API to work was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. We just had to make sure that we had an environment variable for our authentication token, and then it all went through nice and smooth. And the only thing that I don't like, which was the hardest thing, is that little lip on the top of the first card. I looked at it for days. I don't know what's causing that. But the rest I'm really happy about. So it's all right. And then we'll pass it back to Travis.
Cool. Yeah, search tracks too, super similar. You can type again with like anything, like I can search a artist name here instead of a track name. It'll just output tracks, right? And then from here, I have the ability to save, things, and then they pop into my saved tracks. We did not persist this saving stuff just because, like, right, in a real world environment, we'd have to deal with like either like a login or probably like cookies or something to like make it save for each individual person. That might be a little above our heads at the moment. But then as you see here, right, these all have a remove, so I can just go in and like take them off if I don't want them in my saved section anymore. And then this guy here, this is my favorite part. This is what I worked on a lot, is the random generator, right? So this is kind of puts the discovery in music discovery engine, I think. So from this, for this one, we actually, just because I knew exactly how to do it, I basically took the list of genres that Spotify had like seeded and like would work with our like tracks API and stuff. It was like a shorter list compared to like the 1400 long one I talked about in my blog, but just put that in a DB.json file. And then we're able to randomly generate, just on a click of this button, a specific, any of those genres. I'll just pick a random one from that array. And then I can hit the next button down here, and it will generate, again, 20 random tracks that are, tagged in Spotify's data with this particular genre tag. And then again, from here, same thing. I can, click on these. It will tell me it's already saved if I've already saved it. And I can add those into my saved tracks as well from that spot. And then same thing, kind of remove them also. And yeah, I guess, stuff that we struggled with. Ryan mentioned, he trying to get, just for whatever reason, the card thing he imported from Semantic was looking just a little different for the first one in every item, and couldn't figure that out. And then, he got to a point where, like, we don't care anymore. I cared enough to try, Ryan cared enough to try for a day and a half straight. And then we didn't care anymore. And then I had an issue for a while where like also if I hit generate genre too and there's other genre tracks, it'll wipe them out. So like if I show acoustic here and I say, okay, I don't want to look at acoustic anymore, it removes those. But for a while, this generate genre button, like you click it once and nothing would happen, and then every click thereafter it would work. So for whatever reason, the first click wasn't working. What I ended up doing, let me pull this up. What I don't even really know what to call it, but this, are you guys seeing VS Code now?
Mhm.
Basically we had yeah, I don't really know how to describe what I've done here, but changing all this stuff to data instead of just saying like my then statement being just set genre to genres at a random index. Putting it to like set genre, you know, set it to the data that was returned from the fetch.
Mhm.
I guess being more explicit with it. Again, not really sure how to talk about what it's doing, but it worked. And that was exciting. By
I
adding
see what happened here. On line 22, set genres, that is also asynchronous. So probably what's happening is it's saying, hey, React set the genre, then it's running the then on line 25, and then when the genre gets hit, then it's doing stuff.
yeah, and genres, similar to what Wes saying, genres and genre, two separate variables. So I had to kind of make sure that those
Yeah, that was so annoying.
were, you know, right in my head.
Maybe moving the where's my annotation? Here it is. Maybe moving the set genre thing here, instead of returning data, just plop that right into then. So line 22 set genre as data, and then line 23 set genre data random gen.
I might have tried that. I tried 1,000 things. I'm hesitant to make any changes now because it does do what I want it to do.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's music discovery engine. And then yeah, just like Ryan mentioned, this environment variable, just because we were using, you know, Spotify
Mhm.
API, we have this you know, token that allows us to access the API for I think an hour at a time. We had to have this special file, env file, that has the key,
Mhm.
which basically allows us to you know, do this and use, you know, Spotify's API without publishing what are called secrets, you know, API secrets onto GitHub, where like anyone could see them, and it's a big security issue that yeah, Ryan, you know, figured out how to get around. And then we also just on their API docs, it was like you just have to like put the Spotify logo on all your stuff so people know that this is like theirs and not technically ours.
Right.
So hey, it's being explicit. So just a couple little security things that you know, don't matter right now when Ryan and I are the only two people that can like actually do this, access it. But if we were to ever deploy it, then, you know, making sure that we don't get any like cease and desists or whatever.
Yeah. Cool. That's a lot of stuff. That's great. Awesome. Yeah. I don't know if I have any specific questions for y'all. Yeah. Yeah. The rest of y'all have any questions or comments about that? Besides, it looks great.
I get that's another struggle too that I think will always be like, I look at it and like, you know, Ryan pulled in the cards stuff, you know, from a library. The rest of the stuff is mostly just, you know, I put a little bit of CSS into a regular file. And like I look at it and I'm like, I want it to look better, but I don't know what that means because I'm not I'm like, it could be better, but I have no clue like what I don't like about it. I don't have the eye.
Cool. Anything else? Awesome. That is great stuff all around. Give yourself a big round of applause. Love it. Um, great. Congratulations on getting through phase 2. um, we are going to switch streams now. The Python stuff looks like I went and tweaked it a little bit. We've got it all published here. So you can go ahead and start looking at phase 3 if you want to. This is the biggest shift in the course, I think, because we're not only shifting to a completely new language, but we're also using that language to teach new stuff. The analogy I keep bringing up to the curriculum folks is like the first 2 phases are teaching you how to drive a car, and then phase 3 is teaching you how to repair a car, only it's in German. And you have to learn German at the same time. So I think phase 3 is like the biggest bump we have. But yeah, take a look at it. Feel free to like go through the intro stuff. And talk a little bit more when we do stand down and feelings. And yeah, otherwise, good work. Take a break if you like to. You deserved it. You worked hard all week. Cool. Anything else before we shut it down? Awesome. Great stuff. Thanks for showing your stuff, and I'll see y'all in a little bit for stand down.